Welcome to 365 Days in the Word, a daily journey through Scripture. Today we read the book of Genesis chapter 30 to 32. Chapter 30. When Rachel saw that she could not give Jacob children, she became jealous of her sister. She said to Jacob, "Give me children or I will die." Jacob became angry with Rachel and said, "Am I in the place of God who has withheld from you the fruit of the womb?" Then she said, "Here is my maid Bilhah. Have relations with her, so that she may bear a child on my knees, so that I may also have children through her." So she gave him Bilhah her maidservant as a wife, and Jacob had relations with her. Bilhah conceived and gave Jacob a son. Rachel said, "God has vindicated me, and he has also heard my voice, and has given me a son." Therefore she called his name Dan. Bilhah, Rachel's maid, conceived again and gave Jacob a second son. Then Rachel said, "With great wrestling have I wrestled with my sister, and I have prevailed." So she called his name Naphtali. When Leah saw that she had stopped having children, she took Zilpah, her maid, and gave her to Jacob as a wife. Zilpah, Leah's maid, gave Jacob a son. Then Leah said, "How fortunate!" So she called his name Gad. Zilpah, Leah's maid, gave Jacob a second son. Then Leah said, "Happy am I, for women will call me happy." So she called his name Asher. At the time of the wheat harvest, Reuben went out and found mandrakes in the field and brought them to his mother Leah. Then Rachel said to Leah, "Please give me some of your son's mandrakes." Leah said to her, "Is it a small matter that you have taken my husband? Would you take away my son's mandrakes too?" So Rachel said, "All right, he may lie with you tonight in exchange for your son's mandrakes." When Jacob came out of the field in the evening, Leah went out to meet him and said, "You must sleep with me, because I have paid for you with my son's mandrakes." And he slept with her that night. God listened to Leah, and she conceived and gave Jacob a fifth son. Leah said, "God has given me my reward, because I have given my maid to my husband." So she called his name Issachar. Leah conceived again and gave Jacob a sixth son. Leah said, "God has given me a good gift. Now my husband will dwell with me, because I have given him 6 sons." So she called his name Zebulun. Afterwards, she gave birth to a daughter and called her name Dinah. Then God remembered Rachel, and God listened to her and opened her womb. She conceived and gave birth to a son and said, "God has taken away my reproach." And she called his name Joseph, saying, "The Lord will add to me another son." When Rachel had given birth to Joseph, Jacob said to Laban, "Send me away so that I may go to my own place, to my country. Give me my wives and my children, for whom I have served you, and let me go. For you know the service I have given you." Laban said to him, "If I have found favor in your eyes, please stay. For I have learned by divination that the Lord had blessed me on account of you." He said, "Name me your wages, and I will give it." Jacob said to him, "You know how I have served you, and how your livestock have fared with me. For you had little before I came, and it is now increased to a multitude. The Lord has blessed you since I came. And now, when may I also provide for my own house?" Laban said, "What may I give you?" And Jacob said, "You may not give me anything, but if you will do this one thing for me, I will continue to feed and keep your flock. I will pass through all your flock today, removing from it all the speckled and spotted sheep, and every brown sheep from among the lambs, and the spotted and the speckled among the goats. These shall be my wages. So my integrity will answer for me in time to come. When you come to examine my wages, every one that is not speckled and spotted among the goats, and brown among the sheep that are with me, will be considered stolen." Laban said, "Agreed. Let it be according to your word." He removed that day the male goats that were striped and spotted, and all the female goats that were speckled and spotted, every one that had some white in it, and all the brown ones among the sheep, and gave them into the care of his sons. He put 3 days' journey between himself and Jacob fed the rest of Laban's flocks. Then Jacob took rods of fresh cut poplar, almond and plane trees, and peeled white streaks in them, exposing the white which was in the rods. He set the rods which he had peeled before the flocks in the trough, that is, the watering places where the flocks came to drink, so that they would mate when they came to drink. The flocks mated before the rods, and gave birth to young that were striped, speckled, and spotted. Jacob separated the lambs and made the flocks face towards the striped, and all the brown in the flock of Laban. He put his own flocks by themselves, and did not put them with Laban's sheep. Whenever the stronger sheep mated, Jacob laid the rods before the eyes of the sheep in their trough, so that they may mate among the rods. But when the livestock were feeble, he did not put them in. So the weaker were Laban's, and the stronger Jacob's. The man became exceedingly prosperous, and had many sheep, and female servants, and male servants, and camels, and donkeys. Now Jacob heard the word of Laban's son, saying, Jacob has taken away all that was our father's, and he has gotten all his wealth from what was our father's. Jacob saw the look of Laban, and saw that he was not congenial toward him as before. Then the Lord said to Jacob, Return to the land of your fathers, to your family, and I will be with you. So Jacob sent and called Rachel and Leah to the field where his flock was, and he said to them, I see your father's demeanor, that it is not congenial toward me as before. But the God of my father has been with me. You know that with all my strength I have served your father. Your father has deceived me and changed my wages 10 times, but God did not allow him to hurt me. If he said, the speckled will be your wages, then all the flock produced speckled. If he said, the striped will be your pay, then all the flock produced striped. In this way God has taken away your father's flock and given them to me. When the livestock conceived, I lifted up my eyes and saw in a dream that the male goats mated with the flock were striped, speckled, and spotted. The angel of God spoke to me in a dream, saying, Jacob, and I said, Here I am. He said, Now lift up your eyes and see all the male goats which meet with the flock are striped, speckled, and spotted. For I have seen all that Laban has done to you. I am the God of Bethel, where you anointed the pillar, where you vowed a vow to me. Now arise and get out of this land, and return to the land of your family. Rachel and Leah answered him, Is there any portion or inheritance left for us in our father's house? Are we not seen by him as foreigners? For he has sold us and has completely spent our money also. For all the riches which God has taken from our father are ours and our children's. Now then, whatever God has said to you, do it. Then Jacob rose up and set his sons and his wives on camels. Then he carried away all his livestock and all his goods which he had obtained. He acquired livestock which he had gotten in Paddan Aram, in order to go to Isaac his father in the land of Canaan. When Laban went to shear his sheep, Rachel stole the household idols that were her father's. Jacob also deceived Laban the Syrian by not telling him that he was fleeing. So Jacob fled with all that he had, and he rose up and passed over the river and headed toward the mountains of Gilead. Laban was told on the 3rd day that Jacob had fled. He took his kinsmen with him and pursued him for 7 days until he caught up with him in the mountains of Gilead. But God came to Laban the Syrian in a dream by night and said to him, "Take care that you do not speak to Jacob neither good nor bad." Then Laban overtook Jacob. Now Jacob had pitched his tent on the mountain, and Laban with his kinsmen pitched in the mountains of Gilead. Laban said to Jacob, "What have you done that you have stolen away without my knowledge and carried away my daughters like captives taken with the sword? Why did you flee away secretly and sneak away from me and not tell me? I would have sent you away with joy and with songs, with the tambourine and harp. And why did you not permit me to kiss my sons and my daughters farewell? You have acted foolishly in so doing. It is in my power to do you harm, but the God of your father spoke to me last night, saying, 'Take care that you do not speak to Jacob, either good or bad.' Now you surely have gone away because you longed desperately after your father's house. Yet why have you taken my gods?" Then Jacob answered and said to Laban, "Because I was afraid, for I thought that you would take your daughters from me by force. But anyone with whom you find your gods, let him not leave. In the presence of our kinsmen, point out what I have that is yours and take it." For Jacob did not know that Rachel had stolen them. So Laban went into Jacob's tent and into Leah's tent and into the 2 female servants' tents, but he did not find them. Then he went out of Leah's tent and entered into Rachel's tent. Now Rachel had taken the household gods and put them in the camel's saddle and sat on them. Laban searched the entire tent but could not find them. She said to her father, "Let not my lord be displeased, that I cannot rise before you, for the manner of women is on me." So he searched, but he did not find the household idols. Then Jacob became angry and berated Laban. And Jacob asked Laban, "What is my offense? What is my sin that you have so hotly pursued after me? You have searched all my things, and yet what you have found? You have searched all my things, and yet what have you found of all your household things? Set it here before my kinsmen and your kinsmen, so that they may judge between us both. These 20 years I have been with you. Your ewes and your female goats have not miscarried their young, and the male goats of your flock I have not eaten. That which was torn by beasts I did not bring to you. I bore the loss of it. You required it from my hand, whether it was stolen by day or stolen by night. It was like this with me. In the day the heat consumed me, and the frost by night. And my sleep fled from my eyes. I have been 20 years in your house. I served you 14 years for your 2 daughters and 6 years for your flock, and you have changed my wages 10 times. If the God of my father, the God of Abraham, and the fear of Isaac had not been with me, surely you would have sent me away empty now. God has seen my affliction and the labor of my hands and rebuked you last night." Laban answered and said to Jacob, "These daughters are my daughters, and these children are my children, and the flocks are my flocks, and all that you see is mine. But what can I do this day to my daughters or to their children whom they have borne? Now therefore, come, let us make a covenant, you and I, and let us be as a witness, and let it be as a witness between you and me." So Jacob took a stone and set it up for a pillar. Jacob said to his kinsmen, "Gather stones." So they took stones and made a pile, and they ate there on the pile. And Laban called it Jegar Sahadutha, but Jacob called it Galeed. Laban said, "This pile is a witness between me and you this day." Therefore its name was called Galeed. and Mizpah. For he said, May the Lord watch between you and me when we are apart from one another. If you mistreat my daughters, or if you take other wives besides my daughters, although no one else is with us, remember that God is a witness between you and me. Then Laban said to Jacob, See this pile, and see this pillar which I have thrown between you and me. This heap is a witness, and this pillar is a witness, so that I will not cross over to this pile to you, and so that you will not pass over this pile and this pillar to me for harm. The God of Abraham, the God of Nahor, and the God of their father judge between us. Then Jacob vowed by the fear of his father Isaac. Then Jacob offered a sacrifice on the mountain and called his kinsmen to eat bread. And they ate bread and stayed all night on the mountain. Early in the morning, Laban rose up, kissed his grandchildren and his daughters, and blessed them. Then Laban departed and returned to his place. Chapter 32. Jacob went on his way, and the angels of God met him. When Jacob saw them, he said, This is God's camp. So he called the name of that place Mahanaim. Jacob sent messengers before him to his brother Esau in the land of Seir, the country of Edom. He commanded them, saying, This is what you must say to my lord Esau. This is what your servant Jacob says. I have sojourned with Laban and stayed there until now. I have seen oxen and donkeys, flocks, and male servants and female servants. And I am sending this message to tell my lord, so that I may find favor in your sight. The messengers returned to Jacob, saying, We went to your brother Esau. He is coming to meet you, and what is more, 400 men are with him. Then Jacob was very afraid and distressed, and he divided the people that were with him along with the flocks and the herds and the camels into 2 groups. He said, If Esau comes to the one camp and attacks it, then the other camp which is left may escape. And Jacob said, O God of my father Abraham, and God of my father Isaac, the Lord who said to me, Return to your country and to your relatives, and I will prosper you. I am not worthy of all the loving kindness and of all the faithfulness which you have shown your servant. For with my staff I crossed over this Jordan, and now I have become 2 encampments. Deliver me, I pray, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him, that he will come and attack me, and the mothers with the children. You said, I will surely prosper you, and make your descendants as the sand of the sea, which is too many to be counted. So he spent the night there. Then he selected from what he had with him a gift for his brother Esau, 200 female goats and 20 male goats, 200 ewes and 20 rams, 30 female camels with their colts, 40 cows and 10 bulls, 20 female donkeys and 10 male donkeys. He gave them to his servants, every drove by itself, and said to his servants, Pass over before me, and keep a distance between each drove. He commanded the one leading, saying, When my brother Esau meets you and asks you, saying, To whom do you belong, and where are you going, and to whom do these animals belong? Then you are to say, They belong to your servant Jacob. They are a gift sent to my lord Esau, and he is also behind us. Likewise he commanded the second and the third, and all that followed the drove, saying, This is what you are to say to Esau when you find him. Moreover say, Your servant Jacob is behind us. For he said, I will appease him with the gifts that goes before me, and then I will see his face. Perhaps he will accept me. So the gift went before him, but he lodged that night in the encampment. The same night he arose and took his 2 wives, his 2 female servants, and his 11 sons, and crossed over the ford of the Jabbok. He took them and sent them across the stream along with all that he had. Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him there until daybreak. When the man saw that he did not prevail against Jacob, he touched the socket of his thigh, so that the socket of Jacob's thigh was dislocated as he wrestled with him. Then he said, "Let me go, for the day breaks." But Jacob said, "I will not let you go unless you bless me." So he said to him, "What is your name?" And he said, "Jacob." Then the man said, "Your name will no more be called Jacob, but Israel. For you have fought with God and with men, and have prevailed." Then Jacob asked him, "Tell me, I pray you, your name." But he said, "Why do you ask me my name?" Then he blessed him there. Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, saying, "I have seen God face to face, and my life has been preserved." As he crossed over Peniel, the sun rose over him, and he was limping on his thigh. Therefore, to this day, the children of Israel do not eat the sinew which is attached to the socket of the thigh, because he touched the socket of just Jacob's thigh in the sinew of that hip. Thank you for spending time in God's Word today. Join us again tomorrow as we continue reading the Bible together. If this reading blessed you, consider subscribing for daily scripture from 365 days in the Word. Remain blessed.